My name is Aaron, and I play guitar. My first experience in a recording studio was at the Grid in Montreal, Canada, which is now called the Grid, but at the time it was called Garage Studios. And it's owned by Chris Donaldson from Cryptopsy. And since I stepped foot in that studio, my musical life has changed. It turned me into some would call me really picky with being in the studio. But it was a good experience. It's a wonderful studio, and he still does all my albums for me, you know?
This is Fabio, and it's Andrini from ANNIHILATOR, of course, and I'm Italian. My first experience in the studio was actually when I was 13, and at the time I was playing with my very first band, and I just remember we played a few shows, and with the support from our parents and friends and high school teachers and whatever, and we went to this studio, and it felt to me like I was a rock star, because there was this kind of, well, at the time it looked big, but there was this huge room, and I just brought my drum kit with no help from anybody, because I didn't really like to get any help from like my parents or friends, whatever. I just got to this room and I set it up, and I remember recording with my friends who were just very young kids, and then we recorded like 4 songs, just covers. I think we played The Cult, I think we played AC/DC or something, and then I remember going back to the main room where the guy was recording, and there was Pro Tools, and then we recorded vocals, and that was one of those bricks that really form you, and really those bricks make you want to play music for the rest of your life, because that's one part of being a musician. It's either you play live and you get excitement from what you're doing and the surroundings from playing in a venue and everything that goes around it, and then when you go in a studio, that's different, and there's different vibes and different way of thinking about music and living through it. I started playing drums when I was 11, because some of my friends started playing music, my best friend started playing guitar, and I remember going to his house, and he was showing me all these videos from bands from the 70s and 80s. Like, I remember the first time I heard Van Halen, I was 11, and actually the first time that shook me was Alex Van Halen's sound, like his snare sound, and I thought, well, you play guitar, and you're my best friend, why, I should just stop playing drums. I mean, I remember when I was 4 or 5 at my very first house with my parents, I remember picking up whatever I could, like knives and forks, and forming like a fake drum kit with the pillows. I think most people do that. Most guys are like, every kid wants to hit something when it is very young and pretends to play drums. But I was actually lucky enough to get the support from my family, and when I was 11 they bought me my first drum lessons and my first drum kit, so that's when I started playing, and from then on I just kept playing with my friends, and went to that studio and we played a few shows, and then I started joining more and more bands until where I am now, which is the best thing ever.
When I started playing guitar, I was super young, so I don't really remember, but I do remember being a little older and starting to identify with the instrument. Like, maybe it could be something that would make me stand out amongst other people, you know? That being said, I locked myself up and practiced endlessly, right? And I wanted to do it, I think, because it was the one thing my father was really good at doing, but never pushed me to do it. And it didn't force it on me, you know? So it was an easy thing for me to do. And then I was good at it, so it was lucky. So then I just kept doing it. I was on a TV show when I was a kid called Mr. Dressup, which is like a big TV show in Canada. And I saw, this is before there was anything digital. I went to the studio, I got invited to go and be on the show as a kid, you know?
Right.
And I got to see the sound booth where the guys were playing piano and all the music for the TV show.
Right on.
And I thought that's crazy. I gotta do that some way. Maybe not on a piano, but somehow.
That's
the first time I heard music though, on the radio, it was More Than Words by Extreme.
Yeah, man.
The first time I ever remember hearing a song on the radio. That's the first song. I was driving to Maine with my family.
Dude.
It's like 30 years ago.
See, you remember.
Yeah, but I don't remember playing a guitar for the first time. I remember my dad playing it.